네, 세 번째 발표를
I am the third speaker, and I am the art director of 2024 Hangang Bitseom Festival. My name is Liu Jae-hyun. It's a great pleasure to meet you. And my presentation is a bit different from policies related presentations, and I have a free spirit. That's why my theme is from light to style. So the subtitle is Light be the Style of Seoul. That's the theme of my presentation. And let me introduce myself. I plan diverse things. Mostly it is festivals. And my principle for festivals is to present a new style of a festival. And I can talk about two factors for new festival. And in 2001, I planned a club day in front of Hongdae area. And there are diverse features for this, and it was the first overnight festival held in Korea. And most of the festivals are annual event. However, in case of the club day, it was a monthly event. It was the last Friday of every month. So what does the club day mean? So, in my opinion, when do you think light is emphasized? It's at night. I think the same goes for culture. We have the culture that blooms at night. So if we have a culture that blooms the night, what kind of effects can we find in the area? So in 2001, which was early 2000s, the Hongdae or Hongik University commercial district was lagging behind Ewha Women's University and Sinchon area. However, now Hongdae area has a much better commercial district than the previous two districts I mentioned. So it is a cultural icon now in Seoul. And I also planned World DJ Festival, which was the first electronic dance festival in Korea. And what was the style of the festival? So please have a look at these images. Can you find something from here? So a group of friends wear the same costume. So I call it Friends Fashion, which was presented at the festival. So it is much more fun. So it is a much more fun way to enjoy the festival, and it has become a part of Korean culture and our festival. And in 1999, something strange happened to my life. In 1998, we had the Asian financial crisis, and I was a producer for advertisement agency. But I had to quit my job because of the financial crisis. And something special happened. I started a clothing business. So I opened a clothing store. And I wanted to have this vision of clothes that bloom at the night. Can you guess what it means? So in front of Hongik University, we had the alley of a parking lot, and I rented out a small space which is only 7 pyeong, and I opened a clothing shop there in this small lot. But when I started my business, I had to think about Sinchon and Ide area, and especially Ide area. They had this dedicated district and street for private label clothes. So I was in trouble. How can I overcome this crisis? And as a result, I think the same idea can be applied to cities. So we need differentiation to survive competition. That is why I started with something simple. To think about clothing store? Are they bright or dark? Yes, most of them are bright. So that was the initiation point of my idea.
자연스럽게 나왔습니다.
And it came out naturally. In 1994, in December, I first visited a club in front of Hongik University, the Hongdae area, and I was fascinated by dancing. I was a club maniac. I was an office worker, but over the weekend I stayed in the club. And what do you accustom to when you stay in the club for a long time? Darkness. Yes. So I wanted to develop the proper clothing for clubbing. That was my strategy for survivor. That's how I ended up selling these kind of clothes. In the club, we use a special lighting which is called black light. The fluorescent dyes are used for clothing, and I also use the batteries. So I attached LED bulbs on the clothes, and we had this lighting wire, and I sold these kind of clothes at my store. And these are my pictures back then. So it is about 25 years ago. It is even older than that. But in this small lot of 7평 store, very interesting episode started to begin. CEOs of large-scale clothing brands started to visit my store. And you're going to visit Hangang Bitseom Festival tomorrow, and you will see glow sticks. And I am the one who popularized the glow stick in Korea. And what happened afterward?
예, 클론입니다.
This is performance of a clone. So I started in a small space, but this popular performers bought these clothes from my store. So it was a small store. However, the impact was huge in the Korean culture scene. So I use this term club wear. So I am the one who presented fashion with light. But what is important is that I didn't stay as the clothing store owner, but I entered the cultural industry. And in 2004, we still have this Seoul Metropolitan government building, which was used before, and I brought light to this former Seoul Metropolitan government building. And I worked for a World Cup support research group, and I was also a committee member of the 2001 Korea French Cultural Festival Performance section, and the French government introduced me to this. And it is called PG Show. You might have not heard of this name a lot. So digital media art and media facade are the more widespread terms, but it was called PG Show back then. It was developed by the French team, and this is the former Seoul Metropolitan Government building. And I wanted to coat this building with light. And how did I do it? And you can still see the pictures from the commemorative pictorial book. I didn't make any video of the building back then, so I only have photos. So when I presented PG Show for the first time in Korea, the entire nation was shocked. So we have this city Gwangju, and Gwangju has a light in its name, and they are the city of light. So that's why they wanted to bring this content to the city, because they claimed that they own it because their name has a light in it. And this is an example from 2005 High Seoul Festival.
화질이 정말 안 좋죠.
Look at the resolution. It is so poor, right?
우리의 그 역사.
However, still, this is the history.
서울시 이관호 과장님께서 소개했었던
So as Mr. Iguano introduced,
너무나 많이 차이.
it is totally different from today's Gwanghwamun media art. So it is old times for Seoul.
그렇습니다. 이그 PG쇼라고 하는 거는 그 하이서울 페스티벌로
The
시작.
PG show was adopted in High Seoul Festival, and that's how Seoul got to know about light, and
빛의 도시.
Seoul started to use light as the style of Seoul. And I think that was the beginning point of Seoul as the city of light. And in 2019,
전환이라는 것을 소개하고 싶어서
I wanted to bring this example because it was quite random.
청담
And I was the director of the 2019 National Travel Fair. And I used this slogan, Lights Out, back then.
2019년도
And in 2019, the concept of the travel fair was that when you travel to a place, you have to spend the night there to remember it.
그리고 나서 그 컨셉은
And this concept
여러분
was
여행이라는 말을
developed into the night journey of life. I thought about the English translation of
올리고
this concept, but now we have Instagram. You take picture and you upload it right away and share it.
다감
The nightscape
전시회로 만들면 어떨까요?
can be collected and displayed at one place. That was my idea for this exhibition. So this exhibition, it was all about nightscape, and local governments in Korea emphasized their own style and their own nightscape.
엑스의 전시회
And it was the exhibition in COEX, and the exhibition hall was dark. The lights were all out, and it was the first attempt in Korea.
그 2019년 나라의
And
방문회를 기획을 하면서 느껴본
while I was planning for the National Travel Fair in 2019, I realized that New York and Dubai and Hoi An
서울이라고 하는
and Seoul,
다시 한번 생각해 보게 됐습니다.
I reflected on these different cities once again.
어떤 빛의 도시로 만들어
How can we make Seoul a city of light in a unique way?
빛에 대한 것들, 디테일한 부분들, 제품들을
So I looked at details of light-related aspects,
그 야경이라고 하는
and I started to think about the nightscape of Seoul.
그리고 엉뚱하지만
So I know it sounds strange, but I looked at Da Nang's nightscape at the same time. I have some complaints actually.
디자인을 전공했습니다.
I majored in design,
야경은
and the nightscape of Vietnam
전구색을 씁니다.
uses 3000K bulb color.
서울은
But what about Seoul?
그 색이 있습니다.
We have different colors.
좀 아쉽지만 따스한
So unfortunately, the color is not warm enough. So at least on Hangang River, I wanted to adopt this color. Not the fluorescent color, but the 3000K bulb color. That was my idea.
더 이상한 짓을
And in 2019, I did even more strange.
이것도 번역이 어떻게 되었는지
So I translated this into shine bright and national flag. So we are supposed to wave the flag. And in 2019, there was an important milestone. So it was the 100th anniversary of the March 1st movement in Korea. So not only the central government, but also local governments
가장 중요한
were highly interested in the national flag waving campaign.
3.1운동 100주년
And this was the slogan.
빛날려라
So the 100th anniversary of March 1st movement begins in Gangnam. And instead of waving the flag, I thought of using the smartphone. We can display the image of the national flag and show the national flag using the light. So this is an example. So everyone can take a proof shot with the national flag, and they upload these photos. I believe that it constitutes waving the national flag. And these are government officials from Gangnam-gu district office. And each district office and local governments had limited scope of campaign because they should stay in the jurisdiction. However, I wanted to expand this campaign globally, so I started with international students living in Korea, and they participated in this campaign because 100th anniversary of the March 1st movement was that important. And this is even more amazing. The Miss Global Beauty Queens from 11 countries, they also participated in the campaign. And on March 1st, something strange happened again. Normally, the younger generation is not interested in the 100th anniversary of the March 1st movement, but I got a phone call. Mr. Director, we have a party on March 1st in a club located in Gangnam, and we want to be part of your campaign. And this was the result of the campaign. I believe that this is one way to use light, and I believe that it was a way to embrace the MZ generation using light and to present their style. So all the festivals need to consider the proper timing. And now, this year, in 2024, I am working as an art director for Hangang Bitseom Festival. And in 2023, I looked for festival references from last year, and I found one possibility for this year's festival. That is Bitseom culture and style. So I wanted to create a unique style of Hangang Bitseom Festival. So when I looked at the project called Seoul Light, so I thought that we have to take one step further from exhibition to festival. So instead of merely appreciating the artwork, I wanted something people could participate in. And we actually have Light Run, which is a unique program for Hangang Bitseom Festival. So I found this possibility. And these days, we have different programs such as silent yoga at night with headphones emitting lights. So at the end of the day, I realized that Bitseom style could become Seoul style, and it could be a stepping stone for Seoul to become a unique city of light. And it was mentioned by the previous speaker, Mr. Iguano. And let me briefly talk about Seoul Light Hangang Bitseom Festival. So I don't want any overlaps, so I will be brief. The concept this year is the next wave and new light. So laser art becomes a whole festival, and this is the first example in the world. And laser art and light run and lecture are the major programs of the festival. And what about artworks? They are embraced in laser art, and we have 3 main artworks and 3 sub-artworks. And tomorrow, I will be there on site to present these artworks myself.
첫 번째 이
So let me start with the first main artwork called The Resonance of the Han River. So what is the most noticeable here is that the current on the Han River is quite strong. So it was the first time to attempt to install a artwork on the Han River, and it will be presented tomorrow. So you can look forward to it. And the artist is Mr. Yoon Jae-ho. He is the pride of Korea.
그리고 두 번째는
And the second program is LED Cube.
이곳에 참여하는
And
그 작가님들은 다
artists participating in this artwork, they are all artists. Some of them are traditional artists and some of them are media artists.
작가들이
So in total, we have 3 artists to form this laser artwork, and they shared great inputs with us.
마지막 세 번째 작품
And this is the third main artwork.
우리는 작품을 늘 보기만 하는 게 아니라
Instead of simply
속에서 즐기면 안
appreciating artwork, we can be part of the artwork.
비욘드 웨이브라고
And this was the approach we took for Beyond Wave.
그리고 서브 그완 같은 경우에는
And this is the first sub artwork.
많은 구조물들이
And we have different sculptures and installations across the city. And artists
했을 때
could utilize
그 뮤지컬
the structures.
서브 2에서
And you can see the result in sub 1 and sub 2 artworks.
레이저를 활용한
And when we used simple laser
즐거움을 주는
to give great enjoyment for the public, and that is the concept of the third sub artwork. And light run will be there too.
빗썸 축제를 하면서 여러
So
가지
while directing the Bitseom festival, I try to create new values.
어떤 목적을 갖고 어떤
But
꿈을
we always have to think about the purpose and dream we have.
마무리를 하고 싶습니다.
And I would like to conclude my presentation by presenting this vision. Light should be the new style of Seoul.
빗썸 스타일이라고 얘기를
So I call it Bitseom style,
문화가
and different cultures could be embraced in Bitseom style into a new form.
패션에서도
That's why
그 기능적인
I would like to propose something related to fashion, and media art could be fashion. It could be wearable.
그리고 나중에는 저는
And maybe in the future, one day I would like to have a media fashion show.
보는 것이 아니라
Artworks
것이다라고 이야기를
can be worn by people. It is not the mere target of appreciation. So last but not least, I want Seoul to shine with light art.
했으면
I want it to shine even brighter than now.
그래서 전 세계의 여러 가지 그 사례들을
That's why I looked at examples across the globe.
부분들이 많이
We have so many great examples.
나서 저는 이런 이야기를 하고 싶습니다.
So this is the message I would like to deliver. And actually there are 2 messages. First,
공공 건물들이 있습니다.
we have new public buildings built in Seoul, and we can coat the buildings with light.
빛이라고 하는
Now,
그 대부분의 하나의 건물을 미디어 파사드와
a single building can be used for media facade. However,
공공 건물에 대한
there is no public lighting which emits lights itself, but we can think about it as an idea. And we have a new opportunities.
서울시 조례에
So in Seoul's ordinance,
의무 조항이라는
it is mandatory, according to the Seoul ordinance, it is mandatory for
0.7
large buildings to have a artistic work in front of the building.
조각 작품을
So they are supposed to install a sculpture which takes up less than 0.7% of the building.
어떤 계기가 됐습니까?
So I would like to present this opportunity.
전에 보여드렸던 해외 사례.
So, as you saw in the global reference images, we can think of light-emitting sculptures in front of the buildings, which can be blooming at night. So I would like to see this kind of sculptures in the city. And we have so many outdoor signages in Seoul. And on the 100th anniversary of the March 1st movement at midnight, one of the signage located in Gangnam was employed by me, and I played the March 1st movement related video. So during the daytime, it is actively used by different advertisements, but we have some time at night, so Seoul City can tap into the canvas of light. So this is the last suggestion I would like to make, and this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.